The phone vibrated on the kitchen counter, its screen flashing a name that sank my stomach like a stone. Mark. Not a contact I'd saved, not a name I'd heard in years. Yet there it was, glowing in the dim light of our apartment at 2 a.m. My wife, Elise, slept soundly in our bed down the hall. Her soft breaths a rhythm I'd memorized over a decade. I stood frozen, the hum of the fridge filling the silence, my thumb hovering over the screen. Why was her ex texting her now? Why did her phone, usually glued to her side, lie abandoned tonight? I didn't touch it. Not yet. The air felt thick, heavy with a suspicion I couldn't name. Instead, I poured a glass of water, the cold rim pressing against my lips as I tried to drown the unease clawing up my throat. We'd been married 8 years, built a life of shared laughter, late-night talks, and quiet mornings over coffee. Elise was my anchor, steady, warm, her hazel eyes always finding mine with a spark of mischief. But lately, those eyes had seemed distant, her smiles fleeting, like she was somewhere else even when we were together. The next morning, she was already in the shower when I woke. Her phone sat on the nightstand, locked as always. I didn't ask about the text. Instead, I watched her over breakfast, the way her fingers fidgeted with her mug, how she avoided my gaze when I mentioned a late meeting I had at work. "You okay?" I asked, my voice light but probing. She nodded, her lips curling into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Just tired," she said, and the words felt like a door shutting. Days passed, each one laced with small, nagging details. Her phone buzzed more often, always face down. She'd step out to take calls, her voice low, muffled behind closed doors. Once, I caught her laughing softly in the backyard. The sound so intimate it felt like a betrayal of its own. I told myself it was nothing, work stress maybe, or a friend in need. Elise was loyal. She'd always been loyal. But doubt is a slow poison, and it seeped into every quiet moment. One evening, I came home early, the apartment dark except for a sliver of light under the study door. I heard her voice, sharp and hushed, like she was arguing. "You can't keep doing this," she whispered. My heart thudded, a primal rhythm urging me to barge in, but I pressed my ear to the door instead. "It's not fair to him," she said, her voice breaking. "I can't keep lying." The call ended, and I slipped back to the living room, my pulse roaring in my ears. Lying about what? To whom? To me? I didn't confront her. Not then. I wanted to believe there was an explanation. Something mundane. A surprise party, a family secret, anything but the truth I feared. But the next night, I couldn't stop myself. While she slept, I took her phone, her passcode long ago shared in a moment of trust. My hands shook as I opened her messages. There it was, a thread with Mark, stretching back months. "I miss you," one said. "I can't stop thinking about that night," another. Her replies were cautious but not dismissive. "We shouldn't. This is dangerous." My chest tightened, the words blurring as I scrolled. A photo, her hand, wearing the bracelet I'd given her, resting on a man's arm. Not mine. The betrayal hit like a physical blow, stealing my breath. I sat on the couch, the phone cold in my hand, replaying every moment I'd rationalized away. Her late nights, her guarded smiles, the way she'd pull away when I reached for her. How long had I been blind? How long had she been slipping away? When she woke, I was waiting. The apartment was silent, the dawn light casting long shadows across the hardwood. "Who's Mark?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Her face paled, her eyes darting to the phone in my hand. "It's not what you think," she said too quickly, her voice trembling. "He's just someone from before. We're just talking." Talking? I held up the phone, the screen still open to their messages. "This isn't talking, Elise. This is you sneaking around, lying to me." My voice cracked, anger and hurt colliding. She stepped toward me, her hands outstretched, but I backed away. "How long?" I demanded. "How long have you been cheating?" She flinched, tears welling in her eyes. "It wasn't like that," she whispered. "It was one night. Months ago. I was drunk and he was there, and I made a mistake." Her words tumbled out, each one a dagger. "I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to lose you." I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the quiet. "Lose me? You already have." But even as I said it, my heart ached. I loved her. God, I still loved her. But the trust we'd built was shattered, scattered like glass across the floor. Why? I asked, my voice softer now, pleading. Why him? Why wasn't I enough? She sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face. It wasn't about you, she said, her voice muffled. I was lost. Work was killing me. And you were always so perfect. I felt like I was failing you. Mark was a mistake. A moment of weakness. She looked up, her eyes raw with guilt. I ended it. I swear I ended it. But the messages told a different story, one of longing, of secrecy, of a connection she hadn't fully severed. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the life we'd had, but the weight of her betrayal was too heavy. I need time, I said, grabbing my keys and walking out. The doors slam, a punctuation to our unraveling. For weeks, I stayed with a friend, wrestling with my emotions. Anger burned hot, but beneath it was a deeper hurt, a fear that I'd never truly known her. I replayed our years together, searching for cracks I'd missed. Had she always been this way, hiding pieces of herself? Or had I failed her somehow, driven her to seek solace elsewhere? The questions gnawed at me, sleepless nights blending into days. When I finally returned, it was to serve her divorce papers. The decision wasn't easy. It tore at me, a wound that wouldn't close. But I couldn't live in a marriage built on lies. She cried when she saw the papers, her hands shaking as she read them. You don't have to do this, she said, her voice breaking. We can fix it. I'll do anything. I wanted to scream, to ask how she could fix a trust so thoroughly broken. Instead I said, you made your choice. But as I turned to leave, she grabbed my arm, her grip desperate. He's gone, she said. I told him it's over. For good. Please don't give up on us. I froze, her words a lifeline I wasn't sure I could grasp. Then her phone buzzed on the table, and I saw the name Mark. My heart sank, the final twist of the knife. She hadn't ended it. Not really. I pulled away, the papers still in her hand, and walked out, the weight of silence louder than any words we'd shared.